line 怒りを叫べ悲しみを叫べ魂を叫べ今ここで叫べ
What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the Yokai Delinquents podcast. I am Sean, Bearded Cappolitan.
And I am Jerry Robo-Tengu Smith.
And we have a very special guest with us today. We have my good buddy, Jesse. Jesse, why don't you introduce yourself?
Hello, my name's Jesse. I don't know, I'm pretty cool.
That's perfect.
Look,
short, simple, sweet.
Simple to the point. You know what? He ain't got time. He got time to fluff himself. We'll fluff him for y'all. Yeah, Jesse has become a good buddy of mine. He is Jerry's replacement at our local comic book store. Kapow Comics located in Sherwood. But you were hanging out with us well before you actually started working there. So he's one of the crew. But we thank you for joining us, Jesse. And as always with our tradition is to give the guest the first topic of discussion. So, Jesse, what do you want to talk about?
Well, thanks for having me. And has everyone finished the Demon Slayer manga?
Oh, yes.
Yeah, we have.
Okay,
yes,
cool.
we have.
I just finished it literally probably a week now ago. So
okay.
I figured that would be a good one. I don't have anybody else to talk about it with.
That's an amazing one. But so as you said, it's going to be the end of the manga. So for those listening, spoilers, because we've only gotten one season and a movie of the anime, which a lot of people have probably only watched. And even if you're reading the physical versions out there, we're not to the end just yet. So unless you've read it all online like we have on the Legal Viz app. Spoilers. So yeah, we got that out the way. What a fucking ending.
Yeah.
So
I don't know how I feel about it still, because on one hand it was really, really, really good. Just all the side stories that I'm really sad weren't explained more.
Yeah.
But they were still like given enough to where it's a good story. If that makes sense.
No,
but it's
sure.
like you said before, Sean. When we talked at the shop. I'm looking forward to it being animated, because this is gonna sound weird and might be a hot take, but I want filler.
Oh. You know what? Actually, you just brought up a good point in my head. Okay, so we've read it. Those out there still listening who have read it will understand this. Like, apparently, this is exactly how the mangaka, how she wanted to end the series. Like, there was no rush. It was doing well. But there was a lot thrown in that final battle royal with the head demons and our lead characters and the Demon Slayer Corps. And
right.
I wouldn't be mad if the anime kind of diverged a little bit and gave some of those kind of their own season.
Mm-hmm.
That's exactly what I want.
Right. As much as I love Demon Slayer, I am terrible with their names. But
Zenitsu. Or
Inosuke, either one. Like, I remember Inosuke. I never remembered Zenitsu for some reason. The crybaby, lightning dude. Like both of them we really get into their pasts in the middle of the final battle royal, and it's kind of like, man, that would have made an amazing season unto itself. A little stretched out, a little more explaining, but again, but then we also at the same time we wouldn't get that amazing just battles on top of battles, people finishing theirs and jumping in the other one. That was just so cool for it.
Agreed. And I think I have a feeling that if they do execute it exactly from manga, it might throw people off, because it'll be literally in the middle of the battle, have an episode that's nothing to do with the battle, and then the next episode goes straight back into the battle. which I think actually now saying it out loud sounds kind of cool. But I feel like that'll throw people off because I remember because when you explained it that kind of that way, made me think of Hunter x Hunter and
Right.
the way that the when they finally fight the ant colony, the chimera ants. I always say chimera,
It's all right.
but
Get those words that you've only ever read, rarely ever heard
yeah,
out loud.
exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it happened.
like Chasm.
Like Chasm.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
what was it? Teeth instead of tithe, Jerry? Come on,
Yeah,
talk,
yeah, yeah, yeah. That was it. That was the one.
talking shit.
Oh,
But yeah. Well, here's my thing though. I see what you're saying, but and like you said though, like in Hunter x Hunter, it happened, and actually like One Piece. We'll be in the middle of a fierce battle between one of the Straw Hats and one of the minions or even the big boss, and in the middle of it, it's just going to cut to the tragic backstory that makes you cry right before Luffy punches him. So, so that's it'll work, and like, good lord, I was trying to remember, is it a UFO Table? I believe was the animation company who did the first season. I hope they stay on it because
same.
the epicness of these throwdowns is gonna be just gorgeous, and we're just how like every what was it, about 3 or 4 episodes we had a really just internet breaking animation sequence in Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Right.
That's gonna be like every other episode.
Oh yeah.
in this.
If not every, in my opinion.
Right. So Jerry, like,
Yeah,
did
and
you,
and
oh,
I'm still waiting to find out when we're officially going to have an announcement for when we're going to get the movie, since that's going to be the next story arc for
Hmm.
the anime and everything. And I was just trying to like look it up because I thought I had heard an announcement or a rumor or something like that, and it's been since May of 2020 since they really announced this, so I don't know if it's even like still has traction or anything yet. But there were early reports of an offshoot manga being done for Rengoku.
oh,
And so I kind of just sort of thought like, but it wasn't by the same person that did the main series. So like that kind of sounded interesting. But yeah, like I don't know, I'd really like to get some if anybody wanted to, and I've said this about One Piece too, like if once it's over, if like they would let anyone come in and write stories on any of the supernovas and their trials and tribulations, I'd be so down for that. I feel the exact same way about the side characters from Demon Slayer. Like there's so much more history there that we could get into. I'd be 100% down for.
oh yeah, like to give it a little more, yeah, like a spin-off or even like a prequel series. I think
Hmm.
there's so many characters that, and granted, we got a good chunk of their backgrounds, but maybe even a little bit, just get some more of it in. I think
Hmm.
I'd be 100% down. I'd literally would be 100% down for anything more Demon Slayer world, or if nothing else, I can't wait for her next manga.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%. And like we've kind of like tiptoed around like the actual spoilers for the ending, but
Yeah,
so it basically ended and showed like so many years later, like our present day, and showed like the reincarnations of all these characters, right?
yeah,
Hmm.
And that's kind of they sort of like brushed on that a little bit, just kind of like growing and stuff like that, and seeing each other in like the future and stuff. And I don't know, I would kind of dig something like that, if they wanted to start touching on the modern day reincarnations of all these characters. They don't even have to like go back and like have their memories from their past life or anything like that, but just like kind of throwing these new versions of the characters into some kind of like danger or something in the modern day, I think would be really neat.
That I agree, but I don't know how they would bring back Demon.
Yeah,
right.
That's
yeah,
the only thing.
yeah, right. And they still have the one character. Oh man, I'm forgetting his name, but he was the one that was for the one that survived all the time and was drawing the paintings and everything. Um,
Wow, I'm actually a little
oh,
blank on that.
Was he the? Wasn't he in love with the other demon?
yeah,
The doctor.
yeah, yeah. The one that was
Oh yeah, 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 yeah.
yeah, yeah. Because like you kept seeing that he was selling like paintings and stuff of her, and they just kind of like hinted at that he's still been alive all this time.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah, yeah, and he was like the only one that remembered everything, essentially, and had been alive since that time. But yeah, it was a really great ending. I really liked how they kind of wrapped it up. It did feel a little quick, but man, just the way that they had that just struggle with him at the end of it was just completely just.
Oh, I mean, he was super fucking powerful. Like I literally just reached over and grabbed. I don't know if it's the newest volume, but it's the one closest to me. It's like volume 19, and I'm just kind of flipping through, kind of getting a recap of like, my God, the I'm trying to see his name. Of course, I'm not going to find it now. The Demon Slayer dude who's like kind of the monk. He's always like praying and crying.
Mhm.
Dude was just such a fucking beast. You know what I mean?
Oh, the dude with the orphan,
I think.
or like the reason he became a demon slayer is because he was like, um, the Buddhist monk looking dude.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that
yeah,
guy.
he
Yeah.
he was in charge of all the orphans. Yeah, I remember him.
Okay, yeah, I
Yeah,
forgot about the
yeah.
orphans.
I,
Like this is the bad part of when you don't have enough people to really talk about
yeah,
him with.
exactly.
You kind of move. But like I'm looking at him fighting the multi-eyed demon right now. Who that
Oh yeah.
motherfucker? Like they just. I
And
remember. I'm just looking at this fight. Like they're just throwing the fuck down. Like, and I'm just. She does such an amazing job of showing the action. But UFO Table is gonna just like break the internet with these fights,
mhm.
and that's what's so
Yeah,
cool. Oh, so, go ahead, Jerry.
no, I was gonna say that was the Stone Hashira Gyome Himejima.
That's
What?
right, Stone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Gyome was his name. The guy that was always crying.
Right. Okay. Yeah, he's
Yeah.
because at first, all of them really start off as kind of dicks at first, or you don't really know anything about
Hmm.
them. But like from
Mm.
him to the girl with the pink hair that just loves everything, like even like
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
her backstory into that, which at first you think she's just kind of going to be the ditzy girl with the boobs hanging out the boob window, as like that's kind of
Hmm.
how she appears at first. But she became like I say, I'm going to go on and say how she became one of my favorite characters. And I don't know her damn name, but
Hmm.
that's old man memory and way too much anime and comics and everything I take in on a weekly basis.
I mean, I don't remember her name
Yeah,
either.
but she's great, and they all
Ken Roji.
Kenroji, thank you, Jerry, on the ball as always.
Hmm.
But and that was the cool thing, especially when you have like so many characters. Like, did anybody see fucking Mohawk Shotgun Boy becoming so fucking epic?
Yeah, yeah.
No.
I knew when they finally brought him like actually in, like he was just gonna be just a total badass.
Oh yeah.
And then finding out who his brother is and everything
Right.
through it, and their whole backstory was really interesting as
That
well.
was such a good twist. I wasn't at
Yeah,
all expecting it.
Yeah,
yeah.
and I really liked his demon eating kind of power.
Hmm.
Oh yeah.
Right.
That's just fucking sick. And again, it's like you kind of judge, like at least for me, it's kind of like as I'm reading these, like how much am I loving these characters? Do they got a figure of him? And I'm looking it up. Like,
Oh yeah.
I gotta get like especially now as we talked about in one of our last episodes, how I'm changing my my collecting habits, but it's still gonna be like, I'm gonna have a bunch because I just want to go. I'm going for that quality over quantity, but there's still so many damn characters out there
Hmm. Yeah.
Yep.
that I want representing. I just and I'm gonna go broke, but that's what Amazon wish lists are for. You just throw them in there, then you forget about them until you don't, and
Exactly.
you kind of work your way through. But yeah, Demon Slayer, like I don't want to like it. Rushed isn't the wording for it because, like we had said,
Hmm.
how like all these backstories, all these fights with the head demons with their connections to the Demon Slayer core could have been a
Hmm.
season into themselves, or at least
Right.
Exactly.
good many episodes without having to be. But I mean, I guess this is how she wanted it. Of like, but it's still interesting. And it's gonna make. I mean, this battle royal could be an entire season to itself, if not longer. With
Mhm.
depending on how the anime does the pacing, and set it up like this could be because it's a fucking war, and then they get to the final guy. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like to go back on the brothers,
Yeah, yeah,
one of my favorite things about it is like spoilers, like we mentioned,
yeah,
Demon Boy, Demon Eating Boy,
yeah,
so,
Mm-hmm.
he dies,
yeah,
and his brother finally like tells him that he loves him and he misses him, and then
yeah.
like later on when everyone's and he's one of two of the last Hashiramas that lived. Um, he someone's one of the kids is like getting on to him and he sees him in his eyes and he just pats him on the head and moves on. I
Right.
was just like, fuck, I love this shit.
Yeah.
Oh,
And to go back to your favorite character, her and who became one of my favorites and popped the fuck off in the final fights, the
right.
Snake Hashirama,
Yeah.
and his backstory, which is fucking tragic in my opinion.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I love how she asked when they're reincarnated, can they get married? And the dude's like, "Yo, we can't go back to that bar because I got caught staring at his wife's boobs." And it was them owning the place, and I was just like, "Yes, thank you."
Yeah. It's like I said, as much as we liked. I mean, you always want a series you love to go on forever, and
Right.
when you've read enough manga, as I think all of us have, you kind of when you start seeing certain things, you kind of like, oh, was this book not doing well? When they start kind of
Mm-hmm.
wrapping up quickly, and I did have that feeling with this when everyone was just when he just showed up like, "Sup, bitches? Here's my top 8. Let's go." You know what I mean? It was like I
Yeah.
was like,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh no, no," because the anime is doing so well, and at least I tried looking it up. Obviously, I didn't go like a deep dive into the web, but all indication I saw is this is. I know I've probably said this too many times. I'm sorry, but like this is how she wanted it to go, and
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
mean you got to respect that. You got to respect that they let. I'm sure Shonen Jump would have loved to have told her, no, just keep going until you hit Dragon Ball GT, then we'll tell you to stop. You
Yeah,
know?
exactly.
But nah, I mean to let her have that, to have her control, which like Dragon Ball Z is a prime example of like how sometimes the publishers can push a series longer than the original creator wanted to. Whether it turned out for
Mm-hmm.
good or bad. Naruto, Bleach, like all these long running series, sometimes they feel, and I haven't really seen like if anyone were pressured to from the company or just their success. It can also fall on them too to keep trying to go deeper and deeper.
One series that I found out that was canceled that I really enjoyed when we still had Shonen Jumps.
Yeah.
Um, I really enjoyed Shaman King,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and
100%.
that it blew my mind that that was canceled because I thought it was so sick and everything. And then recently I found out they're coming out with the omnibuses, the 3-in-1s for it,
Mm-hmm.
because
Yeah.
also there's an anime coming out,
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
which
Yeah. It like that's been like one of my biggest things, like because I was a huge fan of Shaman Kings and a huge fan of Digimon, and I don't feel like they ever got their time to shine really. And with the resurgence of the Digimon series, and then they announced the Shaman Kings, and man, I've been freaking out every time they have any kind of announcement for like, oh, this character is going to be coming back. So then we're gonna like, they're gonna bring all the manga back out, and then they're gonna finally give us the ending to it in the anime, which I am so
like
hyped for.
the official ending.
Yeah, yeah,
That's gonna be sick.
yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah,
I might actually have to add that to my manga collection too, because
yeah,
I told myself I wasn't gonna buy Naruto because I've read it twice already.
yeah.
But those 3-in-1s for
Mhm.
$15, they're such a good deal.
Yeah. And again, like you've read it twice, so it's safe to say you're gonna eventually read it again.
I
If
mean, yeah, every time I buy one, I read it.
right.
So
And I mean that's the same like we all now, like you said, you read Demon Slayer by getting the app. Whether you're gonna keep the app or not. Me and Jerry both read it on the Viz and the Shonen Jump app, but we're still buying the physical volumes because
Yeah.
if I'm gonna reread it,
same.
it's gonna be on the physical book probably. I mean, I don't think I'll
Oh yeah.
like the phone is great and the app is great for when I want to read week to week, But like, if I want to sit back and binge one story, you can't beat physical media.
Hmm.
And that's why, like, I mean, and I want more of these collections because, granted, don't get me wrong, the normal, as they call it in Japan, the tankobons, the normal way manga is released here, where you have several chapters in one, is great. But like, I'm super happy like Berserk is getting an omnibus. I'm super happy like we're getting those huge collections as well in a bigger format for some of them because some of them
Yeah.
need that bigger, deserve those bigger pages because the art's just fucking gorgeous.
Yeah, and they've been so they've been printing that Helsing and Blade of the Immortal all in those beautiful like hardcover editions, and I'm like really fiending for them, but I'm like, ugh, I can't do it. I don't have any space right now. Like, I would love to have just a library full of them.
And see, I told myself I wasn't gonna buy Berserk, and here I am waiting for the next omnibus.
You and me
Because
both.
holy shit, they're beautiful.
Dude, they are. And like Hellsing, I'm literally stopping myself every time I look. Every time I go into Kapow because
Mhm.
True.
they're sitting there.
I see it.
I own them all already, and that's why I keep telling
Mhm.
myself not to. And I don't. I love Hellsing, and especially Hellsing Ultimate.
Mhm.
And I've read the entire manga. I own them all. I've read them all. But like the last time I went back to it, I had trouble reading it again
Oh
because
yeah.
of that damn Father Alexander Anderson, uh, and it's a style choice where like, look, we know he's Scottish, but you don't have to like print his speech phonetically.
Right.
It's kind of hard to read, and I don't want to. As beautiful as those books look with the bright red pleather, covers and everything, I don't know if I want to spend $50 and not be able to read it again. Like.
Mhm.
But
I mean, I guess the one solid for collecting Helsing over Berserk is Helsing has ended, so there's going to be a finite amount of those,
True.
and you're actually going to get an ending. So
yeah,
Very true.
Berserk is which like it. I was about to compare it to the Fear of One Piece that Oda is going to pass on, but Oda's due to we know he has some health issues. He smokes like a fucking chimney. Is our concern. But like Berserk, he just goes on these long high, and I never looked into if it's health related or not. But he takes such multi-year hiatuses between chapters sometimes, so it's literally he's just taking forever to get back to his masterpiece. I guess that's a little more comparable to say the Game of Thrones, how long it's taken him to write that series out. So
you
yeah,
got some
Yeah.
got some Hunter syndrome going on.
Yeah, that too. Jesus Christ.
well, we do know I do know he is health related. Like he's had worse than like Oda. Like Hunter x Hunter. Well, I've been like I was talking to a big fan of Hunter x Hunter, and he's like he's read all the manga that's come out, and there's long breaks, and apparently like his art has really dropped in quality just because he physically can't draw as well as he used to. Where his hands are like jacked up.
That sucks. I
Yeah.
haven't gotten that far.
Yeah,
I'm
like
only on
it's
the
a shame.
Chimera ant.
Which, okay, so we can talk Hunter x Hunter. I don't know, I don't remember if we brought this up on the show, but to the great shame of everyone who knows me, I can't get into that show. And this isn't unique. I think it's the mangaka, because I
Mhm.
couldn't get into Yu Yu Hakusho either. What's wrong with me, fellas?
You hate fun?
You don't like good things.
That too.
I like plenty of good things, usually involving large-breasted snake women. But Monster Musume aside, I don't like. I started both of them. Yu Yu Hakusho. I know they always say get to the Dark Tournament, and I sound like a hypocrite because I always say, well, get past Skypiea and One Piece, or get to Arlong Park. Get to Arlong Park. It's only 80 episodes in, and it gets really good. You know what I mean? But like, and everyone says get to the Dark Tournament of Yu Yu Hakusho. Everyone says get to the Chimera Ant and Hunter x Hunter. But it's like Yu Yu Hakusho. Like when the group, I want to say it was like their first mission when the boys officially got together. They had to take out like those sacred beasts or something.
Yeah, the Demon Kings.
That's where I stopped there, and I don't think I've ever gotten further in
Man,
Yu
that's
Yu
when it was
Hakusho.
so fucking sick. Like, you have two people who he was trying to catch
Yeah,
being forced to work with him, and then later on in the series, they're best friends.
yeah, I know. Hey, look, I started with the damn movie first, and I still, and then in Hunter x Hunter, we got past Killia's family, and they got to the tower. I think it was gonna be like a battle tower,
Mhm.
and I think I have a better complaint about Hunter x Hunter than I do Yu Yu Hakusho, to be perfectly honest, because you can't give me that fascinating Killua family. You know, with like, I mean, just the fight with Gon and the she was that female maid who was like kind of the gatekeeper.
Oh yeah.
I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that character, and I want to know more about Killia's family. They're like, nah, fuck those nerds. We're gonna go. We need to earn money in another fucking tournament arc. And I was like, you have Hunter x Hunter has a fascinating world to me, and I worry I'm gonna get more time into it, and we're not investing into the world. We're just getting to the next fight, the next little tournament, and for me, that doesn't always work.
Yeah. Yeah, and that makes sense. Like, it's interesting because, on one side you have Yu Yu Hakusho, which is pretty standard as far as like, okay, well, we have this new threat, these demons or whatever that are trying to take over or destroy whatever. Then we have this eventually this
former
person.
spirit
Yeah,
detective is
yeah,
an enemy. Come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
Okay.
That was awesome. Yeah, and
Exactly.
then like for Hunter x Hunter, they just kind of like change it up a little too much almost sometimes, where it's like, um, is this clown guy the big enemy? Like now we're going
I
into this
don't
thing
like
with
that though.
yeah, and it's really interesting, but I can see how like Sean's like we finally started discovering things about the world, and then they stopped to talk about this like one family, and then like stopped that to like go into this tournament arc and everything. So it's kind of interesting how they jump around like that.
Yeah,
Um,
I never thought about that way.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like mostly fascinated with how all of the abilities and everything in that show worked, and how everybody had such like wildly different abilities. I
Yeah,
thought that was
With
really cool.
yeah. And
what was
before,
it?
go ahead, Jesse.
I think it was called Nin.
Nin, I think Nin.
Nin,
Yeah.
yeah.
What I was just gonna say was like, before I get crucified online by our fans, like, don't get it wrong. I love Kurabara.
No.
You know, you're a meshy. You know, I love doing a horrible impersonation of him. And Botan, waifu of the show, from what I've seen. You know,
True.
we all love some,
Very true.
like they were great. And Urameshi, I liked him. He was a delinquent. He had a nice pompadour. You know, he beat people up. But like, I don't know. I thought like I don't have as good of like I don't feel my reasoning for Yu Yu Hakusho. It's just I kind of just like I don't want to watch anymore right now, and I move on to other shows every time. But like and Hunter x Hunter, who's the guy who wanted to be I believe he wanted to be a doctor. He was just the dude just has a switchblade and a suit and a briefcase.
Oh yeah.
Uh,
I don't even know
Leroyo.
his name because he's hardly ever fucking around.
well, he was in the
Was that
beginning. Lorario?
yeah.
Yeah, he was at least in the beginning with Gon and them. You know, like I liked him.
Yeah.
Like, because he was kind of like reminded me of just like everyone, like Gon's got this ridiculous strength. Killua has a skateboard and, you know, an emo person. I don't know, like, and nails. And he's just like,
Assassin.
I got a switchblade, a briefcase, and I look like Wolfwood from Trigun. And like, okay, I can get behind this guy. I liked him. But,
And
yeah.
I just want to be a doctor.
You just want to be a doctor. And I've got both of them still queued up on Netflix. I have no excuses because they're both dubbed, so I can't argue like, oh, I don't got time for subtitles on a show I'm not feeling. I could just throw them on. I just haven't. As me and Jerry have discussed in the past. You know, oh, all these great shows I should be watching. Huh, let me rewatch this YouTube series I really like.
Right. No, I'm the same way.
I
started... Oh, sorry, Jerry.
no, go ahead.
I was just gonna say that I recently decided to restart Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, a new series. So I understand.
Hey, no. Go ahead. Sorry.
Oh my god.
I know, right?
No, you're fine. I do feel like I have to recant and go back for a second because they apparently did release that little offshoot, the one shot special from Demon Slayer. Yeah, that had the fire Hashira. It was
Oh,
it was
yes.
like a solo story with him, and I
Yeah,
completely
yeah.
forgot that came out back in October. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, I have read that too. It's
Yeah.
Okay.
literally just a chapter though.
yeah. That's it's kind of a bummer that they just kind of tossed in one little chapter there, but that's fine, I
Hey,
guess.
Yeah, exactly.
you
That's
get
how
a
it is.
little more Demon Slayer at least.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, there's just like, well, like I said, there's those classics that like you said, Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, which is the only way I ever finished the series. Which apparently that is the better version. That's one I know I watched it all. I can't tell you a lot of what happened. Like, and I know it's an insanely popular series, but like again, that one's just like I enjoyed the brothers, but it just hits a point where I think I just kind of lost focus on the show.
Mhm.
That kind of happens to me like halfway through, but then it picks up again once like the final battle starts happening and all the sins start
Oh
showing
yeah,
up in my opinion. But I have that same problem. I watched I can tell you Naruto is one of my favorite series, but I can't well now I can actually. Well, if someone asked me to like tell me the events from Shippuden, I
right,
wouldn't know like the correct order to do it. Before
right.
that, I would.
Man, we're going through a fucking 1,000 chapters of One Piece right now in our specials, and like, it is such a chore to rack my brain over what happened. And we're about to get to the post 2 years stuff, and I'm pretty sure I've read and watched most of it, but oh man, it's really gonna be a tough one for sure.
And that's funny about you, Jerry. Well, I know that's the earlier stuff, but you've
Mhm.
rewatched One Piece by showing it to
Oh yeah,
friends so many damn
oh yeah.
times up to certain points, whenever it was in the series. But yeah,
hmm
when we us talking about that, yeah, like we are both huge One Piece guys, and you
Hmm.
still, even if you love something so much, unless you've like read it or discussed it for large amounts of times, because all of us read, all of us are into
hmm
new things. It's hard to retain it. It makes you, I don't know about y'all, it makes me feel bad when I'm like, I love this series. Let me tell you about that
Yeah,
character is great. That's literally how you describe him because you can't remember the character's name.
yeah.
he's just like in Family Guy. That guy's a
Fake phone. You don't know. What do you mean you can't tell me all 3,000 characters in Naruto? Are you a real
yeah.
fan?
No, I'm not.
to to my defense though, I got everyone caught up by the time the time skip was happening.
Right.
So whenever the time skip was going on, we were kind of like viewing all that for the first time
Yeah.
together. So yeah, it was an interesting time, and not to mention like one of the big things about the post time skip stuff for One Piece is they didn't do a whole lot of filler.
Right.
It just seemed like all of the arcs were so much longer than the previous arcs, you know?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
but yeah, speaking of filler and Naruto, this is what I tell a lot of people. Like, I give my friends shit about Naruto. Just and like anything, you like what you like. It doesn't matter if I don't like it. Like, but I was into Naruto leading into Shippuden. But like I the whole wow, now I'm gonna forget his name. Who's the snake
Sasuke.
villain? No, the snake villain.
Orochimaru.
Orochimaru.
Orochimaru. Like his saga, getting Sasuke being what now? Like I mean, Sasuke defined the term whenever I see the ally gonna possibly turn evil. I refer to like, don't Sasuke on me. Like I don't.
Oh,
You know what I mean?
good
It,
point.
it it was a no. It was good. It's fine. And the whole series, if you like it, it's good. It's fine. But I do make my argument that I was illegally downloading at the time, yes, because there was no Crunchyroll when in between
Mm.
shipping that I was aware of, at least. So I had BitTorrent and anime so I could watch it, and I downloaded and watched that year plus of filler. You know what I mean? Because I knew no better. I like, well, anime gets fillers. They're gonna grow and have new powers eventually and characters that matter. And honestly, I as soon as they announced ship it in, I'm like, okay. And the time skip, I'm like, okay. I want to see who I want to see in their two. Was it a 2 year jump?
I
Do you
think it was
remember?
three.
3 years. In the 3 year jump, I want to see how they look. I want to see if they break out any quick powers. I saw who I wanted to, and I gave up on the show.
Mhm.
And I've tried for Jesse. I tried recently to read
Yeah,
Naruto.
that is true.
I got just before the Chunin tournament, and I haven't picked it back up in a while. I started reading
Son of
other.
a bitch.
I'm sorry, bro. I was like, I like, I love my characters. Shikamaru is still my favorite character in all of Naruto.
Oh yeah.
I love the respect they give Choji. Fat Boy's representing, and showing that he can do some stuff. But it's like, I can't do it. I just can't.
Oof.
I tried for you, brother. I really did.
Oof.
And I'll still
Man.
discuss what I can know, and I'll love the as long as you're like we had a friend, not gonna name names. He was kind of a dick about his Naruto love, because
Right.
he wouldn't just say I like Naruto, you like One Piece, cool. He's like, no, One Piece is shit, and Naruto is so much better. To which then forces me, as the anime connoisseur of 30 years, to tell him all the flaws of Naruto. To which everyone
Yeah, I
saw me
mean-
viciously destroy this man's love. and, and not to say One Piece is flawless, but if he couldn't say much because he only watched like a few episodes of One Piece and just didn't like it. I watched through that filler. That's 100+ episodes. And then I also know the history of what went on behind the scenes, and I'm not going to get into that because I'm not trying to shit on it. But don't come at me, bro, if you're not ready to fight.
Oh no. I agree with you. I mean, I don't give a shit. I'm not the biggest One Piece fan like you know, Sean.
Yeah.
But I mean, I put 200 episodes in.
Yeah, hey,
But-
solid effort, bro. I can't hate it. And again, it doesn't matter if you liked it or not, but when you want, like one of my favorite wrestling YouTubers, Wrestling with Regret says, like what you like, don't be a dick.
Yeah, yeah.
And that's all I
Yeah.
ask. But if you want to get into a debate, which is what he kept prodding me every week, he would bring it up. You know what I mean? Just like, dude, One Piece art is garbage. Like, hold up. And
Yeah.
you know, like I used to tell people, like, don't get into a battle of wits and come empty-handed with me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I will destroy
Yeah.
you. But again, that's the beauty of like anime and comics and a lot of stuff. You know what I mean? There's enough out there. We ain't all got to like everything. And maybe if you can come at me in a proper way, you might be able to sell me. Like just talking with you, Jesse, up at the shop and texting and messaging each other, you got me wanting to read Naruto. And I got 56 chapters in or something before I was like, okay, it's Naruto. I don't care anymore. But but you know what I mean? Like when you can have a nice discussion, like y'all
Exactly.
talking about Yu Yu Hakusho and Hunter x Hunter now, I might just throw them on in the background because it'll be the English dub while I'm working on whatever I got to work on.
I mean, that's the only way to watch you.
Which, granted, I don't like to do that with a show I've never seen, but there are those shows, right? Would that be fair to say? Those shows out there that don't always need your 100% attention and it makes it better?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could definitely vouch for that.
As long as, like, with anime it gets tougher because, if you don't know the language, you got to kind of pay attention with the subtitles, unless there is a dub.
Mhm.
Sure.
But yeah. So, I mean, I know, like, and sometimes, like, okay, here's a question for y'all. Because I know the immediate example, and I know Jerry's going to know the answer because he's the direct subject of this.
Right.
Has there been
Okay.
a show that you, like, put on your friends for, like, a long time? You're always recommending it, and whatever reason, they never checked it out until way later, and then they end up fucking loving it. You're just been holding on to that "I told you so" for so damn long.
God. As far as anime goes,
Yeah.
there's a few here and there that I can't really think of, but most of the time it happened with comics, and I'm so sad about it because I worked in a comic shop, and I'm like, you guys should be reading this. It's so good. There's 3 issues in. They're like, and then like after the trade comes out, or like so many more issues in, after I've like kind of lost interest because I have nobody to talk to about it. Like they get into it, and they're like, "This is the greatest thing ever," and I'm like, "Fuck you, man."
I can understand that.
Yeah.
But I'm the way I have a hard time getting into third party. That's the best way I could think to describe it. Third party comics.
Hmm.
But for example, everyone wouldn't shut up about Department of Truth, and
Right.
luckily we got second and third printings of it, and I bought them, and I do not one of the coolest series out there right
Yeah.
Yeah, you were telling me about that this last Wednesday. But just for the record of what I was referring to with Jerry.
now. Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. I just want to get back. We'll talk comics because I got comic recommendations out there too. That I'm late to the party. But Bakuman, the the
Oh
series
God,
from the
yes.
Death Note from Death Note creator about making manga and anime. I pushed, and not just Jerry, but like our whole like when Jerry lived here in Arkansas, we had I called it the commune, the House of August. Just a collection of great people who love anime and everything nerdy. And we'd watch a bunch of series, all of them into One Piece because of Jerry. And I'd be like, hey, have you seen Bakuman? It's about making manga and all the struggles within. And everyone's like, nah. But
Yeah, I mean that's kind of how I feel.
That's gonna be me in like 10 more years when Sean finally watches Mob Psycho and he's
oh,
like, "This is the best thing ever," and I'm like, "Shut up! I'm old now. I don't give a shit."
that's fair. I've had that queued up for so damn long. I do need to go in because
Same.
I like One Punch Man, but my complaint always
Mhm.
was that there was no story to it. And my understanding is that's pretty much Mob Psycho. Like you get the action of One Punch with an actual story. So
Yeah.
I do need to go onto that one. But like comics, like man, I'll tell you a comic I'm kicking myself on for not getting number one, and I'm not even finishing it now because I had to really cut down my comic book list. But mainly because collecting the floppies, I'm gonna get the trades. I'm hoping for an omnibus. That's the Immortal Hulk.
Yeah.
No,
Oh
Kind of
yeah.
figured that was it.
I could have picked that up issue one when we were doing Southern Fried Geekery podcast still. Like everyone was grabbing it. I had it in my hands. I flipped through it. I'm like, I never cared about the Hulk, honestly. I've never been a Hulk guy. So nah, I'm not grabbing it. And then hearing, Caleb and Craig and everyone just talking about it on the show as we recorded it, I'm like, okay, let me grab this one issue. And I forget what issue I started on, like issue 11 or something, but like something grabbed me in that one. I'm like, holy shit. And it's an amazing comic book.
Yeah, I'm still that person though. I don't give a shit about the whole.
I mean, I think I like it because it's not a Hulk story, it's a horror story with the Hulk in it. It's
Yeah, see
Mm.
that intrigues me.
it's Cronenberg. It's a little HP Lovecraft. You know what I mean? And it's given a mythos of horror surrounded by the gamma radiation. And like, if anyone's ever been hesitant to pick up the books, maybe that'll sell you. Because yeah, Hulk smash, great, fun. I've liked him with other heroes. You know what I mean? Like incorporated
Yeah.
with him. But I've never cared about the struggles of fucking Banner and his anger problems. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Right.
But this, like I said, it's ending soon, so I'm really holding out for one large collection. Is what I'm hoping for, and I will definitely pick that up because it is a damn good book. It's just I'm getting, like we talked about, the collecting hobbies being different on the past episode of just like I'm getting, other than a few series that I'm like really attached to, I'm kind of getting burnt out on weekly. Getting books weekly. The monthly releases.
Mhm.
I'm really moving on to trades. I think in as far as my reading because manga, and right now, I mean, it's just there's some good books out there. Comic wise, stuff that'll always be good. But like I've really fallen back into my love of manga here recently.
Interesting.
Yeah, and it's kind of like we've sort of pointed out before like, and it's kind of a bummer. I wish they had some way to really go in and make it happen, but like how the app for like Shonen Jump or Viz doesn't have all of their library because they
Right.
have more like of the more adult or rated R titles or whatever
Right.
available on their site, which is it's kind of weird, right? Because if somebody can access the app, then they can access the site to get that. So I don't know what like the whole reason for that is per se.
Hmm.
Because like Platinum End was one that I'm really interested in reading, but I can literally only read it on their site and they don't have it on their app for some reason. And I have no idea why because fucking Death Note and Bakuman are both on there. So it doesn't
Right.
really seem like there's a good reason for keeping that one off,
Yeah. I mean, that app itself though has been a very slow process of getting better and better. They only just recently allowed you to delete books off your read list.
Oh my god, I'm so glad they did.
So many books just sitting there at chapter whatever because I quit caring.
All right.
But yeah, so it's like it's really, I said it can be really tough to kind of keep reading everything. I think, but like that's why like, and I think that's also like what happened was after being on a comic book podcast for a year and a half, like you and me were, Jerry.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it makes you want to pick up more books. But one of the factors of me cutting down the number of books I was getting was I'm reading a shit ton of manga every week. Plus, I'm getting these, whatever books come out week to week. And even if it's stories I'm loving, it's like sometimes I go to them, I'm like, what the fuck happened last month? You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And like that kind of like, okay, clearly my mind can only handle so much, and I'm only getting older. So it's like I need to like I think trades because like and also I do like rereading my books. You know, like I've only ever reread One Piece because I have that one box set of the actual physical manga. You know, which only goes up to Alabasta. So like I don't think I'm ever gonna go into my long boxes and break out all my Immortal Hulk book to book. I'm gonna buy the trade.
Yeah.
So why did I buy all the singles? Because I don't collect for value. I don't, I get a variant cover because I like the cover, not because it's going to be a weirdly how variant covers are suddenly $150 on day one. But you know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
But like, so yeah, that's kind of like what I'm changing. That and of course space, like just room for
yeah.
everything is tough.
I'm
But-
lucky in that department that I don't have too many comics yet. But at
Yet.
the same time, I'm collecting all of the King and Black tie-ins and not again.
Yeah.
Even though I'm enjoying all the tie-ins, I don't want to not again.
That's the same thing. I was talking to Sean about that. I think last episode that we had is I did every single tie-in when they did Blackest Night, and honestly, if I was still working at the comic book shop, I probably would be getting all of King and Black because like I was preaching Donny Cates Venom since like day one, like it came out.
Oh yeah, I do that now.
Yeah, and like it's literally been one of those things that I just keep going back to. And then like someone actually messaged me from the last actual Venom issue that they released where they fucking brought Flash Thompson into it, and I'm like, God damn it!
Oh yeah,
So
it was sick.
yeah, but like it definitely seems like one of those things where he's probably not going to stick around, but I might just get a couple of the issues that he's like they actually have that in.
Speaking of though, it actually ends in 3 issues, I think.
Yeah,
It's gonna
I was
end on Legacy 200.
yeah, and then Donny Cates announced his last issue of Venom, so I'll probably have to pick that up as well. Yeah, so it's one of those things that I've collected for so long, but whenever we moved, it was like I can't keep up with all of this stuff, especially since I came up here without a job. So I kind of I'm waffling between like let's just see if they release an omnibus with like all of the King and Black stuff in it,
Right.
or just see if I can get it all digitally, essentially.
Which I think they will be because they I think they just made a date for one for the Absolute Carnage event.
Nice.
Which
Okay. Yeah.
I did get all those also, and a lot of people didn't like all the tie-ins, but I enjoyed all of them.
Yeah.
But that was like, at that time I was like, okay, I know this is building into King and Black. So
yeah, and that was like about the time whenever I moved, is they were just kicking that off, or it was just like in the middle or something. So I finished off a couple of the tie-ins that I had, and then I actually bought the rest of the main story. So I at least got to finish that off and start what was it, Venom Island that they started after that. Yeah. So I read a bit of that, but yeah, I hadn't really been really on all of those, and I saw that they had like stuff where they brought in Thor, which big surprise because Donny Cates is on Thor, and then of course Silver Surfer Black popped in. So
yeah, like the last frame of issue 3 of King and Black. Which, speaking of Thor, that's one of those that I don't give a fuck about Thor. I don't like the character all that much
Mhm.
until someone was like, "You have to read it. Read this first trade paperback." I was like, "Okay, fine," and I couldn't put it down. I fucking love it. I want
Yeah.
volume two already.
So now,
And
so now that you're a Thor fan, does that change the way you feel about Moon Knight?
no, what do you mean?
He ru-
Of
he
course,
he
Moon
wrecked your
Knight can
boy.
use the fuck Thor. It's made. It is made of moon rock. Therefore, Moon Knight can use it. It makes perfect sense.
Oh,
I like that is one that I regret not getting on just because Donny Cates loves using Beta Ray Bill and all of his stuff, and I saw that he did some stuff with Beta Ray Bill, and I just
Hmm.
kind of wanted to check all that out. So I'll probably eventually have to get a paperback of that as well.
Yeah, and I'm just not a fan of the way Marvel does that too, with like
Yeah.
5 issues. But I
Mhm.
mean, it's about the same price, if not cheaper.
Yeah.
But it's like, do you want a whole bunch of little ones, or do you want a nice big one?
Yeah.
right. And like, so here's the thing too. Like we were talking about, like all those getting the tie-ins. Like it's been a long time since I cared enough about like a big event to want to read all the books, or at least to buy them. Week to week, month to
Hmm.
month, and like I'm starting to feel left out on a like. I cut down a lot of what I've got on my pull list, but one of the ones I've kept is because I've is New Mutants, and I've always loved New Mutants. From the old '80s and '90s era to X Force to all that good stuff. Uh,
Mhm.
I am so fucking lost on what's happening in New Mutants because it's tying into all the other X books and the Krakoa stuff, and
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
it's good stuff. But even when I wasn't cutting down my books, I only wanted to read X Men. I didn't want to read X
Mhm.
Factor or Marauders, and like Marvel is getting really bad about that. I think, for me, obviously, if you like I said all the Kingdom Black tie-ins, if you're cool with it, you're cool with it. But like, I wish, but and like, correct me if I'm wrong. In collections, like say they do an omnibus of the Kingdom Black stuff, do they do collections that are all the different titles that you're supposed to read in order, or do they just do the Kingdom Black Venom, Kingdom Black the Spider Man? Like, are you gonna have to buy multiple trades if you just want to reread it all in one story?
I think they put like a couple together, but the
Okay.
one I was talking about earlier was all of it together,
Okay.
Mhm.
Well,
like a
that's good.
hardcover, huge one.
Yeah.
The thing that gets me the most that I hope that they've corrected since this came out, but a lot of times when they do those collections, what they'll do is they'll do the main story first, and then they'll do the stuff that was in between at the end, and that kind of sucks because I would like to
Yeah.
not like figure out what order this stuff goes to, so I could flip around the fucking book like a choose your own adventure novel. Um, but I picked up the oh, what was it? Spider Verse, the Spider Verse hardcover that they did back in the day.
Yeah.
And I was so upset because I was reading through it and like I was like, huh, this is interesting. It seems like I missed something here. And then next thing you know, the story was over, and then I still had half a book left, and I was like, motherfucker, they put all this stuff at the end and expected me to like go through like between each chapter and figure out what I needed to read, and it was really obnoxious.
That's terrible.
Like,
Speaking of that, you definitely would want to do that for King in Black, because it goes King in Black 1, that week's Venom, or next
mhm.
week's Venom, and the King in Black 2, that next Venom, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and that's what they did when Absolute Carnage was coming out too.
Yeah.
And I mean, like I was talking about Green whenever they did not Sinestro War, god
Blackest
damn
Night.
it, Blackest Night, you literally had to read like Blackest Night 1, Green Lantern Corps, Blackest Night 2, and it just kind of went on like that, and it's like occasionally they'll mess up their freaking shipping dates and they'll release something out of order, and it's like, well, now I have no idea how this happened, so I guess I have to wait for that issue for that to explain it.
Yeah.
Yeah, see that was like the last series. This is I'm really dating myself here. Of going back to like to the '90s was the X books had a series called Executioner Song. And it was
Oh,
like
right.
I remember getting like I had a lot of all the crossover issues, because I was just really enthralled in that story. And then I eventually, when I lost a lot of my books that I had growing up, but I found the trade, and it does have. It was in order. It was all the different books, each of the tie-ins, and it's like, okay, that's great. That's a good way to read it.
Yeah.
Until you realize, like, wow, some people's art was not as good as others going through this book. It's the only thing, because I've never been a fan of Mark Texeira, especially his '90s work. I've liked his work a little bit better nowadays, but like back in the '90s, like I just remember like X Factor ending with this guy with a sickle and kind of like clown paint. I forget the guy's name, hovering over one of our heroes, and then the next book is a Mark Texeira book, and apparently that same character smoked crack in between issues. Cause like he became skinny and sickly, and that's Texera's style, especially back in the day. Everyone looked like vampire crackheads, and so like that's kind of the negative. Which at least now with the crossovers, how like Marvel has kind of got their in-house style outside of like major artists who have jumped on a book, and I think that's for the best personally.
I agree.
Yeah, and that's always like it sucks, but that's always been one of the biggest things keeping me from reading any kind of X-Men stuff. Is they always fucking do that, right?
Yeah.
They're always like, "Here's X-Men. Oh, but also here's this other X book that's taking place, canonically with that. And to understand some things that are happening in this, you have to read this book. Oh, but to understand things that are happening in this book, you have to read this one." And it's just like too much, man.
Right.
That's why I was happy with before House and Powers of X. There was, I think there were other X-Men books, but you could read just Uncanny X-Men, which I did, and it was like 22 issues, and then House and Powers happened, and all of these X books. That was a good. I didn't have to read any of the other X books other than anything other. Actually, I didn't need to read anything before House and Powers.
Right. Yeah, like with the House and Power of X, granted built into having to read 10 different books, but like that was kind of a way to do a big event was just 2 books. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I think that, and granted, like I said, it was planting the seeds to what is now going on in the X verse, which is like without exaggeration, it's like what 7 books,
if not more.
Yeah, going on right now, and like I even after House and Power, I only stuck with X-Men and New Mutants, and for a while
I didn't stick with any.
Didn't. Well, I was interested. I was invested in the story.
Right.
I like the whole Krakoa.
I wanted to.
Yeah.
Not to cut you off.
No, you're good.
I wanted to, but that overwhelmed me. With the amount of books.
To be fair, I was also still a part of a comic book oriented podcast, so I had to make sure this huge event I had to be on top of, which I still enjoyed them. But then they were like, well, we have Marauders, we have Excalibur, which I almost jumped on Excalibur until one of our friends was like, no, it's garbage. All right, I ain't got to worry about Excalibur. But like X Factor, New Mutants, X-Men, Uncanny X-Men, or whatever, all out there. And I was like, well, I want to stick with the main X-Men, and I want to stick with New Mutants. And for a while, that was all. That was good because New Mutants had, granted, it split off into 2 teams, so you had 2 stories going on together. But I felt like I knew what was going on. Now, because I stopped reading X-Men because I had to cut books. Like I don't know what the hell just happened in the last issue of New Mutants because like a lot of characters have changed because there are major events going down in the other X books, and I feel like that's not a great thing for readers.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think the reason of that is because of X of Swords, which
I didn't read any of that.
That was as soon as it happened, I was like, I'll wait for the trade paperback. But of course, that's already like 50, 60, way too much.
Right.
But yeah, I know. I think that's why the story's messed up for you. Because I was thinking that too. When people would come and pick up their stuff, I'm like, man, they probably have no fucking clue what's going on because this is part 8 of 22 in X of Swords, when the last issue you read was like part 3.
Right.
If that.
Well, yeah, it's like right now. The immediate example I'll throw out is like, because I've seen plenty of New Mutants running through their adventures, and some of them went into space and came back. Now all of a sudden, Sunspot is engaged to some alien woman who I've never seen.
Hell yeah.
And that's major. Like, I'm happy for the man, but like, who is she? What the fuck is this? What the fuck is that? What the fuck are these? Like, and then like other mutants have now started changing. I know like some alliances. There's a guy in a fez. I don't know what the fuck he's all about. It's just but he seems like he's manipulating. They talked about other X-Men leaving their seats, so it's like I have no clue. But I can't stop now because like I've got almost a complete New Mutants run from 80s to now. You know what I mean? That's
Right.
It's funny. It's just funny because I know someone's out there like angry. They're like, "Oh, you don't know who the guy with the fez is? That was from issue so and so so so. That's like an offshoot of like 3 different titles or something like that."
Well, you know what? They're not a guest on our show, so fuck that guy. I said it. But yeah. But enough whine about that. Gentlemen, we are hitting our hour mark. Man, this could have kept going on, Jesse. We're definitely going to have you come back on eventually. I hope.
I would love that.
Yeah, I hope you had a great time. We are super grateful for you to come on.
Oh yeah, I had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, man. So, you good people out there, if you liked what you heard, please give us a like, a comment, a subscription. Subscribe if you haven't already, and share the video around. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog's babysitter to give us a listen. We're having some fun on here. We're having fun guests who also likes to bitch about comics with us, and it's always fun. But that's going to do it for today. So we'll catch y'all next time.
Yeah, we're really trying to corner that feline and canine market. So just let your pets listen to our podcast. And yeah, until then, peace.